So the podcast that I chose was the Cult of Pedagogy podcast. Um, this podcast is hosted by Jennifer Gonzalez, and it talks about teaching strategies, classroom management, and educational technology. So each different episode features lots of interviews with educators, students, administrators, principals, and parents, and they cover their secrets and tips and tricks about what works for them in their classroom and what works from them in the school. And it kind of just gives you real world scenarios that textbooks can't necessarily define for you. So it consistently ranks among the most popular podcasts for U.S. teachers. Why it's a really good podcast is because it focuses directly on development for educators. So it offers advice that you can very easily put into practice and that is very easy for you to practice. It's also conversational, so it shows like different interactions and invites students in, so you can also hear from a student's point of view. So it's also well researched. So yeah, if I can get my slideshow below here. So my favorite educational technologies. So the podcasts, educational podcasts serve to deliver content and enhance the learning experience. So they provide opportunities for students to engage with materials at their own pace. And also it just gives them the ability to watch these things and learn when their brain is working best, because some students don't work super well at 8 a.m. in the morning. They might take in more information at 3:30 whenever they get off of school and are home and in their own environment, because environment is a lot for students too. The benefits of educational podcasts is the flexibility. So like I said, it allows students to learn anytime and anywhere, and it makes it easier for studying too, because students with busy schedules can't always study exactly maybe if they could go to a study group, they might not be able to show up to that because of their busy schedule. So having podcasts, they can listen to it whenever, wherever. If maybe they have a gym that they have to go to, and they can watch it on the treadmill, or they can do it when they're driving. So it's just really nice to have a podcast, and so it really helps with students' previous commitments. It also enhances their engagement. So just like one podcast might not work for the next student, but each podcast can help different students in how they learn. So it offers multiple formats and includes things like interviews and storytelling and discussions. So whichever route a student can learn better from, they can choose a podcast that equals that. So it helps them stay engaged more. So podcasts can also it's just another learning option for students, because maybe the only way that they can learn is from an audio. And so if they have anything that is like on paper, maybe they can watch a podcast and it would help them. So then another thing would be blogging. So blogging can help people's writing. So if they consistently blog, they can improve their writing skills, and they can articulate their thoughts onto paper or computer. So it helps them also better their grammar and their vocabulary, and then also their critical thinking and communication. So students, whenever they offer their ideas and opinions, they can receive comments and feedback from their peers to learn that communication side of it. so that is they can start taking constructive criticism at a younger age. So then my experience with Prezi, I think that it enhanced my presentation skills because it showed me a whole nother format and a whole nother website. Whether or not that I know as much about it and I don't necessarily know as much about it as I do other things, but I think that I can get there, and it is very nice. It has a very nice format, but it definitely enhanced because it broadened other things that I can use. It also has more engaging, the zooming in, the zooming out. I think that it's more pleasant to look at, and I think it's also really easy to work with. So yeah, that is my opinion on my favorite educational technologies.